Okay, welcome to Hopeifiers. My name's Alan Friesen. With me is brother Daniel Zapula. Welcome to the show. We are going to encourage you to give us a call. We got our number displayed right there. It's 587-813-6552. So give it a call, give us a call, and we'll have a chat with you. Or if you don't call, Daniel and I will just chat. Now, here's a question you might want to consider calling. Let's say you're going to leave this earth. Your time is done, and you want to share something with somebody you love that's staying behind you. And you want to share with them decisions you made that made an amazing difference in your life, made your life way better. What would those 3 decisions be? What do you think, Daniel? Is that a good question?
Well, I think that should be a great start.
I think so too.
Most people, one of the things that I enjoy doing is life coaching. And in doing life coaching, I find it's important. I begin asking people to draw a 10-year plan. And I first ask them, how long do you want to live? Like, Alan, do you want to live to like 80 years, 60 years? 50 years?
117, Daniel. 117 I'm living till.
If you want to live to 117, well, let's suppose you are 117 now. I want you to write your obituary.
That would be a great idea.
That is the first decision you need to make. You really cannot. It's great to begin. Every matter when it comes to life is good to begin with the end in mind. And that is, what do you think the end is going to look like? Because when you are clear the end is going to look like, it helps you actually shape your life accordingly. So I think for everybody who is listening, it's very important to live your life strategically with whatever end you have chosen as the ending point, the finish line. So when you are at the finish line, when you are at the end point, when you are at the crossing line, what do you want the world to remember about you? I think we do not need to allow or to live by chance. I think it's important for us to live our lives strategically. So there's 2 ways in coaching that I remind people. You can live your life by default or by design. Now, by default mean I accept whatever is, whatever happened to me as whatever happens. And life happened to me. I'm only a one who responds to life. You see that? I am just really acting whatever is taken into my life. You can decide to be somebody who initiate, and that means I believe I got to initiate to live my life strategically. That means I am not going to let myself live in such a way that everything I do is about responding to the environment and whatever happened. I'm going to live responsibly, meaning I decide, I choose, I plan. And I believe when people plan their lives, when people are careful to shape their life accordingly, there's something great that happened. There's greater satisfaction to your life. So starting with what the end look like, then you can work back and say, okay, you say, well, I can read you my own, my personal.
Let's hear it.
But I will have to go into my document. But I did write my obituary, and that is.
Wait, and you don't remember it from memory? You can't say it, recite it just like that?
You're causing anxiety when you talk like that.
Sorry, Daniel, just giving you a hard time.
My level of anxiety. My obituary is supposed to be a private place so that when I die, the children can see it. Now you are asking me to publish it even before, because I'm lived to about quite a long time. And anyways, it's important. So by having my obituary, and in this I say, here the brother Daniel, the right Reverend, most Reverend Dr. Archbishop Daniel Zapula is dead. Here's what his life was all about. He was intentional for 3 things: friends, faith, country, whatever it is. and he lived his life on behalf of the poor. And whatever it is, I will say that. And then, because this is the end, so rearrange my life. So if I only have 50 years left, I say, well, let's plan the next 10 years. What does that look like? So basically, 10 years and then 5 years and then 1 year and then back to each and every day. That's quite important. So the very first and the most important decision you need to make is, what is the end of your life going to look like?
Hmm. Hmm.
Nobody can plan, nobody can do that. But one thing, nobody can say exactly what it is going to happen. But you get to choose your arbitrary. Choose your arbitrary.
Sure.
And once you do that, that's quite important. Again, that's one action I believe that is consequential.
So now,
If
do you also, when you write your obituary, when you wrote your obituary, did you imagine who the people would be there to celebrate your life, that it was over? The people that would be there. By the way, how do you become an art? Did you say you're an archbishop?
that's correct.
Oh man, like should I be like addressing you in some special way or something? I just been calling you Daniel.
Well,
Is there like a title I'm supposed to be doing?
well, there's no to kiss. The whole thing is suffice to just yeah, send me, just order, from there is a great, my favorite restaurant. I can tell you where it is, and you just order my favorite and just order every week, and I'll appreciate it. That's
That
all
would
you can
be
do. Honor me.
that would be that would be an appropriate recognition for somebody with the title of archbishop. There's got to be something more. I can't just say, hey, Daniel, pick up the phone. I have to call your people for you to call me back. I didn't know
Yeah,
this, man. You're a big
you
deal.
you get my people to call you, and then we're gonna solve the deal. But it's important that to decide what your offer is gonna be. It's also equally important to decide who are the six people who carry you.
Yes.
Everybody, when they die, they choose to have pallbearers, and this is about relationships. What are the relationships that are quite important to you? Who are the top six people who will carry your coffin? Who are the people who are really closest? Who are the people that you give your heart to? So when you make that decision about your life, that means you will create space for a relationship. And I believe for many people, the problem is that they've never forged the intentional relationship that are healthy and helpful. So who do you spend your life to? Who are the six people that you are most vulnerable with? Who is that you really open your heart to, and you can actually allow to be known as you are known? That's quite important. And
Sure.
I'm not talking
Sure.
about your wife. I'm not about your children. I'm talking about people that actually intentionally spend your time, your life investing into, and people who can invest into, people whom you are most honest with. You can share your heart. Even the Lord Jesus Christ himself, he had from 7:20, that's Acts chapter 2, to verse 70. I think Luke, if you can hear the chapter 10, and then you have all his 12 disciples. And from there, he has the three that he was most intimate with. I think there is something about his that should teach us how to be present in the world. It's important to live from the end backward. As you look backward, realize you need critical relationship that can drive your life, shape who you are and who you be. So, do you have six people who you are most with? Who you share who you are? Who are
Yeah.
your people?
Yeah, well, you know what? I've got a real good example for you, Daniel, because just today I finished this authentic leadership masterclass with David Irvine and Ali Stone. And it was basically the group that I was with. There's 12 of us in the group. And, we got very deep in terms of our, what is our calling? What difference we want to make before we die? What is important in our life, right? And for none of us, it was making more money. it was more enriching the relationships we had and investing in the relationships we had and taking the time to be present and be the friend and listen and those kind of things. And it was a beautiful experience. They're people who want to make the most possible difference in their lives, and they want to do that. They need to be the best possible person, human they can be, in order to make that difference, right? And so it was a beautiful experience. They're wonderful people, and they've been great guides. And I was like, so my fellow students and David and Ali, who led it, were amazing human beings. So those would be certainly a source of strength and inspiration and connection that I could count on. I could count on my friend Daniel Zapula, Archbishop Daniel Zapula. I could count on him. If I call him, I know he's going to help me. So, I can count on you, my friend.
Well, that is so important because every single day that you get to live, and that is where noticing, I'm going to mention about one third thing that matters to me is the story you live. When you make a decision, what story you are going to live. What is this again? In many ways, it relate to all the sense of what's the end story is going to be. What is when it's all said and done? What's your obituary? So you choose a story that you live. You can live a story of victimism, and that is I am a victim, and that is everybody is against me. Is the whole world is attacking me, and uh, and that is I live my life from the outside in. You see, I'm a victim.
Right.
Or you can decide to.
Everything external to you
That's right.
upsets you or throws you off balance or makes it that you cannot move forward, kind of a thing, is what you're saying, correct?
That's, that's
Yeah.
right. But when it is, I say choose a story you want to live. What is a story? Because there's lots of people who see themselves as victim. I don't think there's anything fun and interesting about being a victim. I'm saying to for once and for a while, one and forever, they need to just kill all the victim story once and for all. Be done with them.
To
I
kill
am,
all the victim stories. Is that what you said?
yeah,
Yeah.
the hell with. I mean, that enough is enough. That I am not a victim. I get to decide how my life is going to be. I have power to respond like that to whatever it is that life bring me. I can choose. And when people really decide to live their life that way, then you are shaped story. Then you what do you want to like? How do you want to show up? And I think there is I mean, when you do that, you take responsibility for your own life. And that is this. It doesn't matter what life, it doesn't matter my way. I am responsible for however I do my life. I am responsible for my feeling. I'm responsible. You cannot hurt me without my permission. I get to give you my permission. I choose to not be offended. I am unoffendable. If I decide to be offended, that's my own choosing because of you. You're not that powerful. Nobody outside of me is that powerful. And that means I refuse to give him permission to do so. But
And
that's it.
Daniel, yeah,
Yes, brother.
see if you agree with
Yes.
this. Taking that power to choose, making that choice that you're by design, this is the choice you are making to live this life that you're designing, that every little, maybe the choices are very small initially, but the more choices you make and the more you use that power, the greater significance those choices become in your life. Would you agree?
And that's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And and when you are your birthright gift, when I mean by that, when everybody is born with three birthright gifts, and one of them is uh, principles. And I mean, principles are eternal. You reap what you sow. I mean, if you live your life according to principle, that's principle. There are norms and that this is part of it. It's like that. You reap what you sow. That's a principle, and that's that. It doesn't matter whether you're green, black, whatever you want, Democrat, Republican, conservative, liberal, NDP, whatever it is. Principle not discriminate. Good thing about Everybody will have to deal with whenever you breach a principle, you need to wait for the judge to come. No, you will experience consequences. So I say, for principle, I say it's important to choose your consequences. You know, if you jump the bridge, most people who jump the bridge, they they never called me before. Because as soon as you do, you realize, I think I want to change my mind.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Mm-hmm.
principle, the consequence of it you already chosen, and that's off. That's why I say if you jump off from the cliff, the top of your house, gravity will hit you very hard. It doesn't matter if you're Christian, you love Jesus, or it doesn't matter you're Muslim or whatever you are. It doesn't matter. Principle do not discriminate. Come for us all. The
Mm-hmm.
rain, God send the rain on the righteous and the just. It doesn't matter how bad it's the same rain. If you don't sow, you don't reap. That's and the thing about this is that the power responses, the capacity to choose. Because
Very
we
important. Very important.
choosing being, and I think that's what you are stressing, how important it is to realize we are choosing being, and that there is so much power, responsibility in decision, and energies, the energy of our life flows, and that there is something quite powerful. There is something that can build capacity, and there is something that can diminish us when we do not live fully according to that truth. You know, you get to choose. You don't
Mm-hmm.
get to choose the weather. You get to choose how present you're going to be.
There's 3 gifts. That was one. What's the other 2?
Well, why do you want me to give you everything?
Well, sure.
Huh?
Like what?
Well, it is the last thing. That's what they call love intelligence. And that is, we all have both physical intelligence, emotional intelligence, huh? Spiritual intelligence, the heart and the soul. Like basically your body, your mind, your heart and soul, spirit. So this, we were each born with those 4 intelligence. Here's a great book that really help you. It's Covey. He talk about the 7 habit and the 8 habit. He really us on those stuff, and I think everybody should live. They should read those. Another great book that I really enjoy is called "Let Your Life Speak." I always that again annually because all about like allowing your life, the life before you tell your life what you want that you got to ask your life what it wants to do with you. And I think there is something quite powerful about that.
And you read
Yeah,
that every year, Daniel? You read it
every
every year?
every single year.
Wow, cool.
Palmer by Palmer, and now you can just on Google and buy. It's very cheap book, but it's beautiful. It tells you to let your life be. Just live the life that is in you, and don't try
Nice.
to copy me, but be thyself. So that's what I think. So I don't know if there's anything you think like me, you other than these things that you found was very helpful about the three more maybe three decision that you can see. Let's just multiply it by hearing some of the thing that you have come across.
Well, one of the my colleagues in the authentic leadership course there, I asked them about these 3 decisions. What would you share, right? And
Mhm.
his answer was very succinct. It was love yourself, and then love your neighbor, and love God. And so he expanded on that with the love yourself, that really the only love that you can give away is the love you create regarding yourself, right? That I love myself as I am, warts and all. Yes, there's, I can be better in these areas, and this is not an aptitude I'm really good at, but I love myself as I am. That degree of love, if that's 100%, let's pretend I have that much love to give to my neighbor. I have that much love to give to my creator, if you will. Or if his creator is too strong a word, the supreme intelligence, the universal spiritual network, the universal caring and compassion, unlimited type of whatever it is, ether that exists that we all draw from. There, and so I thought those are really good. And another thing, I guess, related to that is the belief that why wouldn't you just decide without having to question or faith about it? Why wouldn't you just decide that there is a benevolent, supreme intelligence being creator? Why wouldn't you just decide that? Life is way easier if that's the decision you make, right? Then what you see is, man, things come to you and you think, huh, well, that's because I'm dialed in, I'm connected to this universal intelligence, this universal spirituality, right? This creative force. And so, and why can't you be there? Your mind can certainly create where you can be in a state of intuition or creativity or compassion and caring, and you have those intelligence as you've identified, Daniel. So you have those. So why wouldn't you embrace that best part of us as being human beings, right? Embrace and encourage that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, in many ways, it's almost seamless, a rephrasing of a golden rule, and
Yes.
the platinum and the golden rule. There's a golden rule, there's a platinum rule, but at the end of it all, it's all loving God and loving your neighbor as yourself. Neighbor and self seem to be bundled one, because in many ways, neighbor and self are one and the same thing. It's one. It's like uh, the recto and the verb of a page is like face and power of a same coin in many ways. So there is something quite powerful about loving. But again, let me say this: I've never seen a human being who created love themselves. I didn't know a human being who did that. Everybody who has profoundly impacted the way people live came to love. They didn't create it; they discovered it. Love is
Discovered.
no. They discovered it. It's a deep river that flows from within. It is like the sea. It's as deep as the sea, as wide as the world and the universe, as tall that you can reach. And that is love, depths of love. And so as people tap into that, and then like you tap into it, you discover you into it, you bathe into it. You need to bathe yourself into it. It's an oil that cover you. And it's the same thing. You cannot make more love for your spouse. You discover the love that is already there. And love is
Mm-hmm.
neutral. Love is an energy. Love is a person, it's God Himself. But whatever it is, the essence of love flows like a river. And we each have to just tap into. When we do, the more we do tap into it, the greater and the deeper our gladness and our presence enrich each other, and it makes the world a better place. I don't know how you have found love, because I've tried to just think about it, like, how do I really make of a reality? I can't do it. I can't create it because I am not the creator and the source of it. I'm only I'm part of. I just tap into the river.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. That you're basically accepting it. It's there, and you're embracing it. You're not creating it. But let me ask you
That's
this then.
right.
Okay, let me ask you this then. Is love sometimes a verb as well? It's based on what things you do and the actions you take? Because that, in a sense, is creating it. If I'm doing something to benefit somebody else, because I love them I love them this way, this as a verb, that I'm making this difference in their lives. I'm not mean physical, sexual love. I'm talking caring, compassion, and support for somebody else. Then am I not then, in a sense, creating love?
My problem with and is an opportunity, and it is also a uh, again, when you look at that, I think in many ways, when it is dependent on me or you, or any human.
Okay.
There
Okay.
is
Yeah.
there is conditionality, and I
Right.
mean, if you do ABC, then you are lovable and acceptable. If you do D and Q and Z, it definitely means you don't love me, but unloving. And while I say love, there's a neutrality in the sense of it's indefinite, it is universal, it is divine. And so when somebody say you don't love me, in many they have already preconditioned love, and that you will never be able to love them because they have set a condition. So
Okay.
in the book that I wrote, what I tried to convey is an all for nothing, and it is there's no conditionality,
You
and
know
that,
what?
yes.
I cannot believe this. Of course, I read your book, enjoyed your book. It increased my marriage
Yes.
satisfaction and how well my marriage worked. What was the number? 57%, I think it was. And and I know that that's true. So why did I just forget? That's right. That makes sense. I'm with you.
But it tell us like basically, and like it's really, we have been conditioned in this world to think, act differently. Here's some precondition we have been taught. We've been since we were a kid. If somebody does this, it means they don't like you. If someone they don't love you or don't respect you, I get to see many couples, and sometimes it's very interesting. Or the man will say, "You're not respecting me enough," or the woman will say, "You're not loving me enough." Somebody wrote a book called Love and Respect. You need both. But when you look at it, sometimes there is a truth. Like if I'm a man and I've just done something that my wife doesn't like, and it's my wife's birthday. Happy birthday, honey! And
Is it actually her birthday today?
that's great. That's her birthday. Her birthday.
Oh,
You know,
nice.
she turned only 30. You know,
30. That's nice. That's great.
but but here's the saying. Uh, and she said, "Well, I don't respect you anymore." You know what? For me, it's not respect until it's costly. It's not love until it's costly. Why? I mean, let me just unpack it in just a couple of ways. Um, I love it when my wife respects me, especially when I don't deserve it.
Okay.
That's respect.
Okay. Got it.
If you just love me or respect me when I deserve it, you know better than the heathen. You know better than anybody else in the street because everybody else will respect me when I deserve it.
Right. Right.
Well,
Right.
take
But
the
then
same
that,
thing about
yeah, I
love.
see it. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I love you only if you do that. Actually, hey, when you love me and there is no conditioning, it's like when you have a baby, the baby is peeing on your face, but you don't put a condition. Baby, I will love you. As my mom doesn't say that. If you
No.
don't, most babies leak from both sides,
Yes, they do.
but
Yes.
you love them without condition.
Exactly.
Somehow, when we get older, we think adults need to operate differently, and
Yeah.
we invent expectations, and
Yes.
we hurt ourselves and we hurt the world in the process. I'm so sorry. It won't work. That part of a problem in human relationships is due to that reality. What do
Yes.
you think?
Well, I want to share a different thing with you if you're okay, Daniel.
Yes, go for it.
I was the forecast. I don't know if you heard about this. There's metrics that are done in the world about the level of caring in the whole world, the level of compassion in the whole world, the level of collaboration in the whole world. And during these COVID times, all of those markers have been increasing substantially. I think there's a 72% increase in caring, 64% increase in compassion, and a 91% increase in collaboration, about organizations working together to make differences in people's lives, because the need is greater and everybody is more attuned that we're all in this together. We got to look after each other. We got to increase our caring for each other. We got to help as where we can help. And agencies are saying, hey, resources are tight. We want to work together. We want to make sure that we help as many people as we can, as completely and fully as we can. So all of those markers, volunteerism and money being donated, and these metrics, all on the big increase there, Daniel. Isn't that great news?
Yes, I heard that. Is it BS News or what? I know it's BS News or something like that, but it was quite interesting to just hear that. I know, and I think more people need to be aware and to become increasingly aware of that news and to get involved into that, because again, that's a good thing. That's the good news, and I think there is more in it for us to celebrate than actually to get discouraged over, because sometimes all the other news builds so much despair. It's great to hear a hopeful news and a hopeful consideration, and that there's something about that news that is helpful, and there's something about that news that actually built more health in that sense. And I think somewhere we talk a lot about hope, and I think for us to really notice that, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, sir, are we still trying to keep this to 30 minutes?
Well, I think every time we just always have to remind ourselves that we only have that many minute 30 to operate with. This was a conversation that we wanted to share time together, and I think it to actually let people go with that good news. And I want to say how thankful I am and I was to actually partake of this moment. It's great.
Daniel, it's always fun chatting with you. You know what's going to happen? One of these times, we're going to leave that phone number up there. Somebody's going to call us. We'll have a chat with them as well. What do you think?
Well, we're better. You are looking better and better. So when you are ready, we will we'll get you everywhere, and everybody is going to be telephone calling you. But I think right now we are getting diligent and doing exactly what we're supposed to do. And the people who need to hear us are hearing us.
Are you feeling more hopeful right now from when we started to where we are now? I know I am.
I'm tapping more into hope than I used to. It's a river, right? Remember hope?
It's a river. I understand.
It's
yes. A river of hope, a river of love. Is everything a river?
Well, Alan, you're finally catching on.
Okay.
It's like
you keep working with me, Daniel. I'll get it. I'm a little bit of a slow learner, but I'll get it eventually.
It's just like the electric grid. It's a grid. It's like you get yourself knee deep, like ankle deep, knee deep, waist deep, chest deep, neck deep, and then you're swimming in that ocean. So just from now on, begin thinking of reality as that.
All right.
Happiness as that. Joy as that. And then dig deeper. And the deeper we dig, the better it becomes. And I think there's so much joy and so much for us to celebrate on. So this was good. That's really good. And I want to I know you and I were talking about that. We want to just always take this moment to thank Jesse for making this a reality for us. We have been really, really privileged and blessed by his work, and we're looking forward to one day again recognizing his service to the city and his openness to serve without discrimination. And I think that's something that we all can recognize in it. I know you wanted to say more things yourself.
What I was going to say, Jesse Parmar, great guy, very, very community-minded guy, and really interesting. I want to interview him one time. You may be on here, Daniel. We get Jesse to come on. because I'm trying to interview him. He's too shy, but I want to have Jesse come on because he's an interesting man. He knows a lot of stuff. I learned.
Well, we just want them to get from ankle deep to knee deep to waist deep to neck deep and to swimming in the river.
Just jumping right in. Nice.
Come on now. I'm gonna lay down my heavy load down by the riverside. Down by
the riverside. Nice. You know what else? When you were talking about So Good Seeds, my favorite singer in the world is Mavis Staples. Do you know who she is?
No. Is she dead?
I don't think so. She's like in her 80s, but I believe she's still alive. But one of her songs is So Good Seeds, and that's So Good Seeds, everybody. So good seeds, everybody. From the mountain unto the valley, you gonna reap just what you sow. Daniel's gonna reap just what he sows. Alan's gonna reap just what he sows. Anyway,
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So we got to hear you singing and humming along, and I think that's really so good. You know, there's something so beautiful about music. You know, that's something so much about us really being together and celebrating and in the harmony of it all. This is beautiful. Thank you so much for all that you do. And
Daniel, thank you. And we will see you next Thursday at 7 o'clock for another episode of Hopeifiers. If you want, send us an email, 3hhumans@gmail.com, or give us a call when the show is happening. If you give us a call any other time, it'll be, well, you could call and leave a voice message. Yeah, you could do that if you want. So, all right.
Well, that was good. It's so good to hear you, man. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Daniel. See you next week.
Thank you.